Good evening, and welcome back to another episode of Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Hit List. I'm your host, Stefan Polius, alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius, who will eventually put his camera back on. But yeah, fresh off of our takeover on Sunday, we are back again Monday night to give you all the sports updates that you love hearing from us. But before we get into it, Deck, how you doing, sir? How you do? I like this new setup.
Yeah.
It's a fort. You're in the fort, right?
Yeah, so I'm my girlfriend's, and it's pretty much the bunker. So, I mean, this is like smoke and mirrors after dark. Steph and I are from unknown secret locations. The threats from from the Sunday show have gotten to us, and we're seeking shelter. So, happy to be here on this Monday. Nice, weird week of football. Good in some senses, bad in some other senses yesterday. So, looking forward to talking about that. Obviously, we got the Monday night game tonight, and just a bunch of other stuff football related throughout the rest of the show. So looking forward to it. Happy Greg's back, got his camera on, and looking forward to hearing how he's doing today.
Yes, he is.
Keep keeping a light in this whole set of darkness with the two of you.
You finally get a ring light, and you're like, oh, look at me.
I'm channeling my inner Garrison. I don't know how to act.
That's accurate, though. How you doing, though? You good?
I'm all right. I got a case of the Mondays.
You're a little rough after that Sunday. Listen, it's just the Mondays, all those picks you got wrong.
First of all, I actually, if in the grand scheme of things, I did not do that bad compared to everybody else. I'm just saying, I was in the middle of the pack.
All right.
Everybody had a bad week this week.
All right. Yeah, no, it was one of those weeks, honestly.
That is true.
So I think Ray and I you for that.
I think Ray and I had 8, and that was I thought I had a bad week. I was like, I lost on a couple of the crazy 1 o'clocks, and then I thought I did way worse, and then wound up okay. But Greg's right. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a damaging week for anyone, I don't think.
I mean, it's damaging for me because I don't gain as much ground.
Say this. I did. You could have listened to me. It's all I'm saying. You could have listened to me.
Here we go.
You could have been right. But it was upset Sunday pretty much. There were a lot of games that, us here on the Sports List spoke about as if it wasn't even like a consideration that the other team was going to win. And one of those games was the Bills versus the Jags. Jack over there with his boy Josh Allen. And I mean, the Josh Allen sack on Josh Allen, that moment was pretty special. But that game in and of itself was something that no one expected. I was not expecting this to be a 9-6 finish. Not against a Jags team that has a really bad D. And it's not like Trevor Lawrence showed up. I mean, it's not they won on field goals. But Deck, let me know, what do you think happened here for Josh Allen to just underperform against bad defense?
Yeah, man, I think it's one of those things where it was weak in the NFL where a lot of teams got upset, and it seems like so far a lot of the teams at the top, including the Bills, have found that game on their schedule so far that is just a dud that they should have absolutely won and that they've blown. No team is perfect this season. Everyone's had their little hiccups, but that's a bad one yesterday, and there's no excuses for it, really. They had many opportunities to have the defense hold. I mean, listen, I know it's one of the worst things in football, but to have them hold them to 9 points, there's no reason you should be losing that game. Easily one of the worst games of Allen's career. I'm sure we might see him outside of the top 5, which is probably an overreaction, but it could happen tonight. You never know which way our lists are going to go. But, yeah, just a bad one.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's his worst. I mean, his first year 1 was pretty bad, but.
Yeah, Greg, so I guess I say it's worse since he's gotten really good.
I mean, we have to wonder, did Jacksonville's Josh Allen go into this game with a chip on his shoulder? Because he sure as hell played like it. He went in like he had something to prove. These guys were taken in back-to-back drafts with the 7th overall pick, shared the same name, and it almost felt like Josh Allen went out there and saying, "I'm the better Josh Allen." We all know the Buffalo's Josh Allen has had the better career thus far, but yes. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Deck. I think Jags Josh Allen would have looked much better in a Giants uniform doing all of that for you.
Fun fact, I wanted Jags Josh Allen with the pick that they took Jones with in 2019. I could send that video my screaming at the TV. But yeah, he's a great player. Or he's not been as great as everyone anticipated, but it was a big day for him yesterday, and it's nice to see him been building off of this season. He's had a decent year, and he was decent last year. Slowly improving, and I think he can be a really good defender.
Agreed.
Is,
Still no excuse for that loss.
Is my internet
Continue,
slow?
Steph.
I'm over here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
a little bit.
You're
my
in and out. You're also in a black hole, so I
In and
get it.
out. Hey, you know what? I'm actually using the Wi-Fi here, and I kind of want to jump on my hotspot because I feel like on Sunday
I
it was
feel like
fine.
you should jump on your hotspot. It'll be better.
All right, bet. All right, so what I'll do is I'm gonna just throw this next one out here, and then y'all can talk, and I'm gonna figure my stuff out. Because,
All right.
and Greg, I'll let you start this one because it's the Browns at the Bengals, and
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
you love to say the Browns are gonna brown, and Mayfield's a bum. He's just not that guy, pal.
You
And I'm
said
not saying he
Mayfield's
was that
a bum.
guy.
I said he's not that guy.
Hey,
So-
it's synonymous. All right. But 41-16, the Browns
Mhm.
beat up on the Bengals. All right. Dak and Chuck were the only two that really took the Browns. Everybody else went
Had to
Bengals.
do
That's a
Greg's
game up they
dance.
got there.
So-
But speak to it. Speak to it. Did this Browns team show you something? This is an OBJ-less Browns team. They ran really well with Chubb. And I think the most receptions on the day were 3, and I want to say that was Peoples-Jones that had that.
Yeah.
But and I understand that this
No,
was
2
a
receptions. I
game
think
where
he had
the
3
running game was
targets.
winning. 3 targets.
He had a
I have to
60
actually pull it up because I
60-yard
know there's someone that
touchdown.
had 3 receptions. Landry had 3 receptions for 11 yards. So
Yikes.
in a day that Baker completed 14 of his 21 passes, he didn't have to rush, they didn't have to pass that much. But I also am curious if this is a team that can do that. So, Greg, what are your thoughts?
So first and foremost, Baker attempted to make me eat some humble pie yesterday. It was a very good attempt. He played well enough in the grand scheme of the game plan, but broken clock, yada yada yada, twice a day, right? So that's the route I'm going to go with on this one. Baker Mayfield is going to have a couple of these games each year where he's going to look like he's that franchise guy. Meanwhile, it's Nick Chubb carrying the load of the offense. And he's going to do just enough to make people feel like, yeah, I can carry this. And then when it really matters, he's not going to be able to. So that's where I'm going to go with that as far as Bakers go. As far as the Browns go as a team, this is the formula they need to win. I don't know if the Bengals were still hungover about losing to the Jets, but they made Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow just did not have a good game at all.
He did not.
You know, yeah, our dynasty team felt it even worse than the Bengals did probably.
I don't got to talk about that. All right, leave that one alone. But yeah, it was a tough
started
day for Joe
Herbert.
Burrow for the Bengals. If we had
but-
Herbert, if only we had Herbert.
Different
I know,
league or
Yeah, different league.
okay.
Yeah, different league.
But as far as the Browns and Baker go, I'm gonna be quiet this week. I'm gonna be talking again next week though.
So, but you're saying
This
Baker
isn't-
got it? Is that what you're saying?
Just for today. He got it for today.
Alright.
He shut me up for today. But you gonna hear my mouth on Sunday again, probably in the comments.
You
talking
going
crazy.
You're going the Ant Mullen route, huh?
Oh,
Eat
with
your humble
the
pie for a day.
I told you I'm all in on this Browns not making the playoffs thing. So I'm riding this train till the
Alright.
wheels fall off.
Apparently. Dak, what are your thoughts on this game? And
Can you
congrats on
can
getting
you
that win on everybody.
Thank you. Can you imagine if I copped out like that? What an outrage,
How
outroar
is
that
it a
would be.
cop out? How is that a cop out?
I mean, well, I'll
Steph,
keep
tell me how
quiet
this is a
this
cop-out.
week.
Did I not give
Dak,
Baker his
Dak. No,
flowers?
no. Kind of. I mean, it was.
I mean,
it was. It was.
it was
almost,
insincere.
It was almost the equivalent of what Dak. It's almost what Dak did when the Tatis thing came up and he kind of backpedaled. It was a little
Oh.
worse than that though. I think Dak did almost a better job of being like, you know what, I was
But
wrong.
here's the
Thank-
thing, though.
wow,
Tatis,
that is
Tatis
big.
was an MVP candidate. Here we got a guy
I
who
think we should.
No, you're
attempted
right.
21 passes, and I'm not about to
Yeah.
to throw away my whole stance because he threw 21 passes in the
No,
game.
you are right. You
Yeah,
are right.
yeah.
You are
You don't
right.
have to
He
throw
did
away
not
your
look-
whole stance.
didn't look great.
But, I mean, you don't have to
put up
head
41
into your
points.
virtue. You don't have to head into a metaphorical bunker when it comes to Baker Mayfield. I mean,
I'm 10 toes down.
All right, that's fair enough.
10 toes down.
But
Jack,
anyway,
what are you thinking?
It was a big win for the Browns. They did exactly what I expected them to. Mayfield played one of those games where, and I think we're going to talk a lot about how to manage a football game at the quarterback position in the NFL in this episode, just based on the fact that Mayfield did what he was asked yesterday. He made the throws he had to make. The ball to Donovan Peoples-Jones down the field was great. Yeah, exactly. No turnovers against a defense that really does produce turnovers. So listen, he is he as good as Joe Burrow? No. Despite the fact that he outplayed him yesterday, he's still not as good as Burrow. But do I have hope for him? Absolutely. I think that, listen, this is a guy who threw 20 touchdowns and 2 interceptions to finish out the season last year after Odell went down. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he can play now that Odell's gone. The idea that Odell didn't get the ball or wasn't looked at, that's simply not exactly all that true, considering Odell did lead their team in targets. So that is one aspect of it. Now we're going to see where else the targets go, how Baker can spread the ball out. Ray Jarvis is a big fan. Let's see if he can live up to the hype that he gives him. But yeah, a big win for the Browns yesterday.
I don't know about that.
I know it's a Greg Ray debate on Baker.
Cross your fingers, Nick Chubb stays healthy the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, Chubb is
the engine needs that.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, more so cross your fingers that Baker stays healthy, because what definitely flies under the radar is that he's been banged up all year. So hopefully he can stay healthy to get down the stretch.
I don't think it matters, because if Nick Chubb is running like Nick Chubb is running, Case Keenum can do what Baker did yesterday.
But see, I wasn't looking at that from a Browns standpoint. I was looking at that from a Baker standpoint.
Oh. I mean, isn't Baker's contract coming up? We about to pay him $30+ million to be a game manager?
No, absolutely not. Listen, I don't think he's a $30 million cornerback. He's not Allen. He's not Lamar Jackson. But at the same time, he gets the job done, and we're going to see how he finishes the year. Listen, they have a shot to make the playoffs. I'm going to say this right now. I think they do. I'm going up against Greg's take.
I mean, everybody does. I'm the only one who thinks they won't.
That's not true. That's not true.
Well,
the Browns.
I mean, I think we started this season. But going into the season, when we did our picks, everyone had the Browns making the playoffs.
Yes, I'm talking about right now. Right now, a lot of people would not have the Browns making the playoffs, or maybe not a lot, but a decent chunk. I feel like.
I would say there's a few heads out there. Jump on my back. I want to bring this up though, because now we have two.
Kirk Cousins is
we have
good.
a so-so start. We have a so-so start from Burrow, and then a bad start from Burrow in this last game. So start against the Jets, now a bad start here. And when Herbert was going through his woes, obviously came out of that this week. Everyone was questioning, well, what? Maybe they figured him out, or Herbert needs to turn a corner. Do you think it's the same case for Burrow right now? Greg, I'll ask you that.
I think it was just a matter of people saying Herbert just has to get on track, because everybody knows that
he's in a funk.
He's a top 10 talent.
No, he was in a funk.
Yeah.
No. It's not about top 10 talents still can go into funks, and they can also
he's
a
top 5 talent, honestly.
You're probably right. Yeah. You're actually right about that. And I think it's the same with Burrow. I think, this is going to be a crazy statement, but the Jets put out a blueprint on how to stop Jamar Chase and kind of limit Joe Burrow. Don't knock me when I say this, because the Jets secondary is not as bad as people like to make it out to be. We've been saying it all year. Yeah. And I don't know what Troy Aikman was talking about on Thursday night, where the run game is their pride and joy. It's not.
I almost threw something at the TV when he said that. Run all over all year.
But I just think it's a matter of Burrow just having to get back on track. I think he'll be fine. He better be, actually, for the rest of the season.
So it's just a funk. I mean, Doug, you feel the same way, right? It's just a funk. It's not something that's not fundamental, but maybe defenses have figured out about Burrow that he needs to adjust.
Right. Yeah, it's not like a Baker Mayfield level regression or anything like that. It's just, listen, he had 2 bad games. Herbert had 2 bad games. He's up for FedEx Air Player of the Week for his performance yesterday. So these things happen. Guys are not going to be exceptional every week. Like I've said, going back to the whole Bills thing, every QB in the MVP race or in our top 5 discussion, every QB in that category, and every team for that matter at the top has had their hiccups. So this season has been far from perfect. It's been perfectly imperfect. But I know. I thought it was nice. It was a nice little Monday night ad.
I like it. No, so I hear you there. I want to move on to another upset though, and that is the Broncos at the Cowboys, which I think everyone got that wrong. I don't think there was a person that took the Broncos who was bold enough to do that. But 30,
Maybe Andrew
30
Vantage
16,
took the Broncos. A resident Broncos fan? Is it possible?
I think I threw his name
the
out there
Cowboys.
during the matchup yesterday. But, I mean, I don't know. That's
I
that was a win.
highly doubt it though. No, it really was. But Broncos Cowboys, Zach, I'll start with you here. Thoughts on this game and maybe believing that the Broncos are a team that, with a Teddy Bridgewater, a game manager, even though they do not have Von Miller anymore, can still make noise and be a team of contention.
Contention, no, but a 7-9 win team, yeah. I mean, I can get behind that. But at the same time, I think also going back to the Cowboys, I think this game, despite how big of a win it was for the Broncos, I think the Cowboys, it was their hiccup yesterday. You know, I'm not going to sit here and overreact and say that this is, this is a terrible team. So I haven't seen the Cowboys play this bad since I beat Pete and Madden 56-0 with the Walmart Kirk Cousins led Vikings. So listen, the Cowboys are going to be fine. Like I said, every team has their hiccup. But to answer the question about the Broncos, well, I think I already did. I think they're maybe not contention, but decent enough.
But this is a blip for them, you're saying? Like putting on a performance like this is a blip and not more of a trend.
Yeah, listen, Dak hasn't played in 3 weeks. He had a bad calf. He went into this game. Obviously, he was a game enough. Pete, I can pull up the game history. I mean, these things exist. I'm not lying. What do you think?
You should have known Pete was coming with his revisionist history after that loss yesterday.
Yeah, but it was definitely big with guys that went down, those teams, with the exception of Raiders and with the Raiders with Ruggs. That's a different story. But guys that went down or left, the Von Miller-less Broncos, the Derrick Henry-less Titans, not to get ahead of ourselves. I know we're going to talk about that. But it was a lot of interesting wins. But I think it's a blip for the Cowboys. Listen, every team has that fluke game. I know I've been riding that a lot. And trust me, it's not just because the Bills got their asses embarrassed yesterday and put up 6 points to the worst team in football. Maybe. No, but seriously, I think the Cowboys are fine.
Greg, same thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are fine, but I also do
What
think
about the Broncos?
So before I talk about the Broncos, I've been on this show a lot bashing my good friend Jared Carter for his Matthew Stafford and Rams takes. He's a big Rams fan. But he said something yesterday that was kind of intriguing to me. And he said that AFC, NFC matchups are kind of weird the later you get into the year. And if you look at the way some of these games played out yesterday, there may be some truth to that. And I think this is one of those AFC, NFC games where you're just like, we didn't see this coming. How the hell did this happen? But it's just where teams may not know that much about each other and just prepared the wrong way, honestly. And hats off. You just got to tip your hat to the coaches on the other side.
Vrabel. Chuck's right about him. But I also think
you
Jared
keep getting ahead of games. We are talking about the Cowboys and the Broncos.
Were we not just? Oh, I thought we did a little unceremonious switch.
Nah, you
We're
got
talking about AFC,
NFC.
about that. Oh, you're right. No, he's right. I got ahead of myself.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Broncos.
Yeah.
That is an AFC, NFC game. I think a lot of it also, and this game's a bad example, but the Raiders, Giants, and the Titans, Rams is a good example of. I think these AFC, NFC, that there's a lot of truth to that. I think there's validity in what your friend Jared Carter said, but I also think when you add a coast to coast element into it, I think it plays a very
definitely
different animal.
And even it's almost like it didn't matter that the Broncos were in Texas. There were so many Broncos jerseys in the stand. I didn't realize Bronco fans were that well traveled. It looked like it was like a pseudo home game for them, like a neutral site.
Every team's happy to travel to Jerry's World. I feel like road teams tend to travel well in Dallas, like especially the Giants.
Maybe because Texas is open, and their football team is halfway decent. That could be
open. All right, let's get into these next games so we can actually finish on time today. Mm-hmm.
No shot.
Putting that in the air now. I'm putting in the air now. Every episode.
I think we're going to speak it into existence because we might not have made kickoff for Chiefs Giants last week, but we're going to wind up making kickoff for like Steelers Bears with Big Ben tonight. And, we'll be there, like whatever. Well,
But
probably
funny
catch the
enough, do you
pregame
think it's?
show.
I meant to say it's interesting how when we were on the Sunday show, we finished right on time. Like we
I
finished
know,
right at 1
crazy,
o'clock.
right?
Yes, that's because Greg and I didn't take
Irony.
the bait.
I mean, you almost went for it though.
No, we listened.
This
We
close.
calmed down.
You was this close. You was this close.
I was. But then it was like, all right, it was like Browns and Jets receivers. I was like, all right, never mind. Let's move on. They're not. The Browns
But
receivers.
let's talk about this Falcons. Well, no, let's talk about the Falcons and the Saints because here's a game. Yes,
Nice
yes,
pick,
Greg,
Greg.
you got it right. I think was it you and Reynald
Yeah.
Falcons?
Yeah.
Yeah, really good picks there. So you gain maybe gain the game or maybe even up that rather I should say. But this is a game where I did not really expect the Falcons to come out and do this against a Saints defense. Yes, Trevor Simeon's back there, and he didn't necessarily hurt the team, but I wasn't expecting I almost said Stafford. I wasn't expecting Matt Ryan to come out here and to put up 300 plus yards, 2 TDs. And this is a game where, Greg, I know you and Paul were saying on Sunday that you don't think that Lattimore was going to be on Pitts, but he was. And we saw Pitts not having the best game, having a big catch, 39 yards, but after that, really quiet. But Patterson being the equalizer, and that is something we spoke about on Sunday.
Patterson
had his best game. C-Pat is what I think they've been calling him in the locker room. But he put up the most yardage receiving since, I want to say 2011. I forgot what year it was they had said, but he hasn't had a game this big since he came into the league. And he was a difference maker. Greg, I'll start with you here, though. Are we seeing Matt Ryan finally come around and providing the kind of offense for this team that they can go up against a defense like the Saints and put up points? Blip or trend for you?
I think it's a trend, and I forgot who it was. It actually might have been somebody wild like Colin Cowherd or something like that. One of those personalities.
Somebody wild.
Yeah, somebody who's
Yeah.
wrong more often than they're right. Say that the Falcons, look at the Falcons' schedule. They have a chance to make the playoffs, and I thought that was wild at the time. But when I was looking at the development of their offensive talent, I'm not calling playoffs just yet, but I do think they can compete in that division. And they've I believe it's Arthur Smith is over there, have finally unlocked what Patterson can do for an NFL franchise. There are a lot of people that did not use him the proper way, and now that the NFL game has changed a bit, they're able to utilize him more. You have the emergence of a tight end like Kyle Pitts, and then you have guys like Russell Gage and Zacchaeus, who people wouldn't even expect to be relevant, stepping up. And Russell Gage had a big game. Zacchaeus didn't have the yardage, but he was
7 for 64.
He got into the end zone more than Julio Jones has in the last 3 years.
Oh man, rude. Julio don't deserve that. Julio
say
worry about getting these
anything
dubs. Julio 7-2, bro. Leave him alone.
Listen, I'm just saying. Zacchaeus found the end zone against the Jets a couple times, and then he did it against the Saints. So apparently, his little behind is an end zone, a red zone target. So we don't. Matt Ryan must have had beef with Julio. That's all I'm saying.
You sound like Odell's dad.
Zacchaeus, I'm just blowing smoke. But all I'm saying is Zacchaeus is not a big guy. He has more red zone. He has more red zone targets than Pitts. That's saying something.
He finds a way to get open out there.
Yeah.
He is. Deck, you though. What are you? Blip a trend on these Falcons as the real deal?
Yeah. What do you mean? Like real deal? No.
Not real deal. I should just say the offense is better.
Yeah.
Than what they have been, and they can continue this trend.
Team? Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh, real quick, I'm sorry. Reynald, thank you for that. He said it was Nick Wright who said that about the Falcons. I knew it was somebody who was more wrong than right. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. That went over my head because I knew that because I was tagged in that post by Paul Akisi for apparently scoffing at Nick Wright's comment. I never even heard that he said that or said any comment. I guess he must have got the wrong guy. But going back to C. Pats, I was gonna say something like, Cordell Patterson, like his birthday should be called C. Patty's Day. I just think that would be cool. And then I realized he was actually born on St. Patrick's Day, which is just kind of insane. But look that one up quick. But as far as that whole Falcons thing goes, it was a good win for them. It's very coincidental. Trevor Simeon did lead a decent comeback, though. I mean, that game looked buried from the third quarter.
The Saints are tough
Yeah,
to call,
I agree with
man.
that.
I don't know what their identity is, and I've said that
They
all
don't
year.
have one.
That
They don't have a
that
QB.
I struggle picking
That's
their
really what it
games
comes down
every
to.
week. Even when
Oh,
they
you struggle like Travis, huh?
that's a different type of struggle.
Even when what you were saying, you finish your thought.
No, I was saying even against even though I picked Atlanta, I just didn't understand, like, just from looking at them from a statistic based perspective, is like, what are they gonna do? No one knows
Yeah.
week in, week out.
And what makes it unfortunate is that, like, it shows that they just need a quarterback. Like, if they had a decent quarterback back, they give them a chance. This is a great defense, one of the best defenses they've had in years. And Kamara is not someone that you can really rely on. He could be the heart and soul of that offense. It just has not been. And is Michael Thomas coming back? Is there?
No,
he
he's
got
out for the year.
he re-injured.
It's done for the season, right?
Yeah, I think they just have to cut
the
ties.
Saints are.
Yeah.
I agree. It isn't working there. The Saints are one of the 3 teams that Beckham wants to go to. It's the Seahawks, Niners, and Saints are his 3 preferred destinations.
Saints.
Nah, they'll
Saints
go
would
to
be
the
a great
Niners.
one.
He's gonna go to the Niners and die. Don't let me start. When we get there,
I
I'll
don't.
talk about
I don't
the
trust Shanahan
Niners.
anymore, man.
No. Let's hold it because
Yeah,
I have some choice
okay.
words for that man.
It's coming up. It's coming up. We can move on to the Packers and the Chiefs, though. And I mean, at this point, we're saying Jordan Love just isn't it, right? The man is just, he cannot be heir to the throne. 19 to 34, 190 yards, 1 TD, 1 into, but he did not look ready back there. The whole game, he was just shaky. And you have Devontae Adams, so this guy is a world beater. Devontae Adams is one of the best wide receivers in this league, if not the best. Pedestrian game, 6 receptions, 42 yards.
He looks so frustrated out there.
It reminds me of like a Brock Osweiler, and I love to bring up Brock Osweiler because he pisses me off so much. The year I drafted D. Hopkins, he has his worst statistical season ever. It's like, how could you be that bad of a quarterback that you have a superstar that you could just throw a 50-50 ball up and he'll bring it down more often than not, and
Even
just
Tom
can't
Savage
even
made
do
it
that.
work.
So yeah, I just think that Jordan Love looked extremely overmatched in that situation yesterday. But then you had Mahomes on the other side, who none the fresh really 20 of 37, 166 yards and a touchdown. Mahomes and that Chiefs offense looks very one-dimensional. We've said this for a while now, but what was really eye-opening to me is seeing Tyreek Hill get 9 targets. He has 4 completions for 37 yards. They're continuously trying to push the ball downfield for Tyreek, and it's just not there. And I mean, it begs the question, to answer the question, are they figured out? Is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid figured out? And is it a case of just getting a second wide receiver? Or do they need to revamp this offense and really start to think about how they can get past just being a deep ball team? Greg, I'll let you answer that first.
Yeah, they are figured out. And they're figured out for 2 reasons. One, their ground game is non-existent. Nobody has to respect their run. They could bracket Tyreek Hill and other wide receivers won't step up. And Andy Reid refuses to change his game plan. And the stubbornness.
But if you could, I'm sorry, but if you could add like an Odell Beckham, let's say give you a decent wide receiver too, do you think it changes?
Absolutely, I do think it changes because now the defense has to worry about somebody underneath. Kelsey and Tyreek can be taken out of a game plan very easily, but if you add a third player in the mix, it changes things. And again, if the running game is there, it helps. I also don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming off an injury will be that for them either. So I think that's why I think Andy Reid needs to kind of use that talented offensive mind of his, same thing with Eric Bieniemy, and kind of draw up some a new game plan to get them to move the ball down the field, realizing that Pat Mahomes doesn't have the time for these plays to develop with these 5 and 7 step drops. 3-step, get rid of the ball. Work on it. Go back to look at some of Tom Brady's film in New England when he had like a Deion Branch or something like that, and make those secondary receivers like a Mecole Hardman or a Brian Pringle, who at this point I'm just kind of sick of both of them because they're just not living up to it.
Hardman more than Pringle,
and have them start trying to beat corners off the line and create space, on short routes, and let their speed do the rest in the open field.
Jack, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a team that's been very different, and I think it's all gone downhill since that Super Bowl. And I think what weighs heavier on that team that really goes without mention is Andy Reid's son injuring the girl in the drunk. He was drunk driving in the car crash.
Yes.
Ever since that happened, things have seriously gone downhill for this team. And the Giants dropped their safeties back last week. They couldn't do anything over the top. And that's Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. It's the best part of their combination is the deep ball. Actually, honestly, the best part of Mahomes' game is the deep ball because he's got that ridiculous arm strength. I don't think necessarily I don't know that they've been figured out, but adjusted, like the league adjusts, right? We saw it with the read option and Kaepernick years ago. The league adjusts all these guys, and for a certain reason, with the exception of Brady's dominance for 20 years, which just goes to show you how hard it is to dominate the league. If Brady was able to do it for 20 years, and now Mahomes is in year 4, I don't know why I couldn't remember that, but 2018, 2019, 2021. So 5th year in the league, 4th year starting. So really year 4. And now we're getting through these hiccups, and they're not coming out on the other side. And for me, there's no excuse. You're going up against a team that has Jordan Love that didn't score until essentially, I don't want to say the game was over, but mathematically, they never even held the lead. They had 0 points through midway through the 4th quarter when Love finally got the touchdown. Love, who, by the way, I just don't think is that capable. I don't think it's not garbage time because the defense had to make a stop.
It was still a close game.
You're right. You're right.
It was a close game, but took you long enough is essentially what I'm getting at here. And it's not a tough challenge, by the way, for Love to start his career against that defense. I mean, it wasn't. That is a gift.
And the way Love has performed just makes Aaron Rodgers a big asshole because your team had to give me a sense. Like Aaron Rodgers plays this game, it's a no contest because the Packers defense played very well, and
we're looking at a blowout.
I part of me wonders, is this kind of, with all the stories we hear about Aaron Rodgers, this is one of those moments like, see, I told you so. You can't win without me. And I wouldn't
something he would do.
I would have. Yeah, his track record, I wouldn't put it past him.
I hear that, and Greg, just to respond to what you were saying, as far as you believe it is just getting a solid second receiver on the outside, I have a hard time believing that that's just a solution, only because we haven't seen Kelce ever taken out of games like he has this season. He has not been effective in the receiving game as dominant as we expect Kelce to be, and I think in the years prior, when they didn't have it over the top, they had Kelce intermediate, and he was someone that they can make it work. Yeah, that is his game.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like if they did get let's say OBJ, like I said before, I'm not too sure if it would make that drastic of a difference. I mean, and there's the thing about Pat Mahomes. Like you said, he's great with the deep ball deck, but he's just very creative with how he releases the ball, so that.
He's an improviser.
If the defense thinks if they have him, he is. I mean, he has so many different arm angles in which he can get the ball out with the velocity that he does, that it makes it hard to really say you have Mahomes beat, even if he's 20, 30 yards down the field still, whatever it might be. I do believe that it's more of Andy Reid needing to tailor this offense to the personnel they have now, and understanding that the deep ball and going with Tyreek Hill down the field isn't it. I like the idea of the quick 3-step drops, slant routes, curls, like comebacks, like things that will allow for your speedy guys to potentially get a little space and then run with the ball. Of course, they have to catch it and not fumble it. But I honestly think that it's more than just getting another receiver to come in. And I don't know what's going on with Josh Gordon. I haven't seen any updates, but I figured he'd at least be involved.
Listen,
I don't think he's the answer anymore.
I didn't think he would really be. Listen, it's not the Josh Gordon of 5 years ago. I don't think he's going to be that guy at this point in time. But the one question I'll say, the question that I have with the Chiefs is, how much control does Eric Bieniemy have? Right, because that was the big X factor last season when during the coaching search. And I believe every one of us on here believes that he should have been a head coach and that it was unfair. But I think now that the Chiefs have kind of had this downfall, the question whether he doesn't have as big of a role as we thought, or does he, or is it more Andy Reid? I think it's more Andy Reid, but I think it also plays to that narrative of, okay, if Andy Reid's the problem, Bieniemy could be all right. But at the same time, we said that Eric Bieniemy had all this control in the Chiefs offense. And if he doesn't have that, then is that what the potential pushback for him not having a head coach job could lead to? I'm not taking a stance here. I'm just posing the question because I think it's a very interesting situation with the offensive coordinators Andy Reid has produced. Now he hasn't gotten the job, but now how much of it, because it seems like Andy Reid has the full control, because listen, he's been the one who's been getting the blame. So I just don't know what to make of that whole situation.
That's why I mentioned both of them when I spoke earlier. Because
you're the first person to ever mention it, by the way.
Yeah,
and so credit to you for like actually looking at the situation.
Yeah, because we remember that, and I don't know whoever it is, whether it's Bieniemy or Reed, but somebody has to take a step back and say what we're doing is not working. But as we know, I think we stated this, a few times on the show. Coaches usually don't like to change because, hey, guess what? I made it here, and what I've been doing for me works for me. So F you, as opposed to the defense adjusted. Now let me readjust and make my own adjustments.
I can easily see that when Bieniemy's going back out to look for a job, look for a head coaching job, that people will hold this season against him. Because as much as people are blaming Andy Reid, the same way they didn't give Bieniemy credit for the offense when he was out, when they had their great seasons, now that they're doing bad, I can easily see organizations saying, well, look what happened last year to them. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be the guy for us. He might not have the answers. And that is exactly how it works.
The crazy thing is the Chiefs are still up there in terms of offensive numbers. It's the optics of how the offense looks that's making people
look good.
No, because they've set the bar so high, to be honest.
Yes.
That looking like an average offense makes them look bad.
They were able to push the ball at will last seasons before.
Yeah, I mean, this is why really analytics in football just don't mesh like analytics in other sports, in my opinion. I think analytics in football, to an extent, does work. There are good numeric stats that can display that. But, I mean, looking at the Chiefs, you can use the two eyeballs in your head to see this looks like a below-average offense the past 6 weeks. So they need to get it together. And I think that despite the numbers that they might have through the air where, they look decent in points per game and, Joe Judge saying they haven't come out, do you know how to stop Tyreek Hill? Saying all this stuff like that. You should know how to stop Tyreek Hill. I'm not a reporter, but I mean, whatever. I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, Greg. So here we are now. Cardinals versus 49ers.
Hold on. Let me tag Josh. Let me make sure I tag Josh.
We made it.
Please do. Because 31-17, this is a game that there was no Kyler. All right, not expecting the Cards to come out slinging the ball or to do well. And this is a good 49ers team. But Colt McCoy, that name.
Revenge
still
game.
Around the league. Yeah. 22 of 26, 249 yards, a touchdown. You had a huge game from James Conner. I mean, he's been touchdown dependent, not really running for much. Yep. But
thank God he got out of Pittsburgh.
Both in the running game and the passing game, in the receiving game, he was huge. And yes, it's good that he got out of Pittsburgh. He's been better on this team now. He's also healthy, so that makes a difference. But this Cardinals team managed to pull out a win, even though they were without their star quarterback. But Greg, what are your thoughts on this game?
What I said on a Sunday show was that they still had the talent to beat this team, and it showed because Edmonds went down in like one of the first few plays. He only had one carry and he hurt his ankle or something like that. And James Conner came in and was that running back one and took over the pass catching duties that Edmonds would have. And it was very seamless.
Seamless.
But Kyle Shanahan, what is good with you, my guy? Like, what's really going on? Because
talk to him.
In the NFL, you cannot go against a team without their star quarterback and without their top three wide receiver at home and get smoked the way you did. That is embarrassing. What is happening on your offense that, Kittle comes back, cool, and he has a solid game, but where is your offense? Debo had a game. Now all of a sudden you believe in Ayuk again. But here's my thing. I don't think Ayuk lost this. Somehow he ended up in a doghouse to start the season. The talent was still there. How is he handling his players that have all this talent but don't seem to want to play for him? I don't know if it's a case where the messages are getting drawn out from like players, from coach to player, and they just losing interest. Is that why a Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch and he can't even touch the field over the 6th-round pick Elijah Mitchell? What is going on within this offense that guys are not responding? And the defense, I just think that the 49ers overall is just not a good football team. That we just have to call it what it is. They are not a good football team. They have loads of talent on defense, but their offense is subpar in comparison to their defense. And you put them all together, and it just doesn't make a good product. And especially when you put it in that division, they got to go up against the Rams twice and the Cardinals twice. You might be looking at 4 losses, honestly, if they beat one of them. I'm sorry. But all I'm saying is, Josh better not come into me at work when I see him talking about my Jets and his 49ers got smacked by Colt McCoy. All right, I want to hear it.
Oh, freaking McCoy. Deck, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Colt McCoy, I would love to give him his flowers for a second. Like, this is a guy who back-to-back years has gone on the road in the NFC West, arguably the toughest division in football, if not the AFC West, and get a win. Listen, he did it with the Cardinals this year. He played, I don't want to say near perfect, but he kind of game managed that game like on steroids and like took it to the next heights.
4 incompletions.
4 incompletions. He did everything he was asked to do. And that was kind of the week that it was in the NFL. A weird week. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like 5 teams lost with 16 points, and they were all favored in the game or something like that. I think 5 or 4 or 5. I haven't seen that anywhere. That was just me looking at the box score last night.
This was what would have been the week in my pickups to just go ham and pick all the upsets, that I could have.
What did Steph say yesterday?
I thought this was a safe week. I really did.
Steph,
it was a safe week. I called it out several times. You said I was wild. You and Paul were like, all right, you trying to get us to lose. But Steph could have got y'all ahead of the game. You would have been looking a lot better.
See, Greg,
today.
That's the bait that we should have taken yesterday. And we should have made some switch picks. We weren't paying attention to the right things.
Apparently.
And what are your thoughts on the 49ers? I'm assuming you agree with Greg, though, in that
I do.
regard.
I really do
Just
think
construction. It's Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I think Greg hit it on the head. When you have Jimmy Garoppolo throwing for 330 yards, 100 yards to Kittle, who's now back, who hasn't been healthy all year, 100 yards and a score for Kittle, Ayuk 90 yards and a score, and Deebo Samuel getting busy with 5 receptions for 63 yards. There's no way you should lose, let alone to a backup quarterback. That seems like an offensive day where your thing's just looking at the box score. It looks like you did all right, but they didn't do all right, and they were completely down from the beginning. They made Colt McCoy look like Johnny Unitas, and that's all she wrote. So Kyle Shanahan, I'm not going to sit here and say he's not that guy, pal. It's just irresistible. It really is irresistible. But at the same time, he's got to answer some questions because they have Trey Lance in the wings. I don't know how I feel about him yet. They have Jimmy G, who I don't want to say serviceable, but
I'm sorry. Now that you say that,
okay,
Jimmy Garoppolo is in my Baker Mayfield arena of starting quarterbacks because he is also not that guy. But
I agree that he's not that guy.
They paid a lot of money.
I don't think he's
way before they should have. But that's
way before.
What was that after like 5 games or something?
Yeah,
like 5 minutes. Like, did he get out? I think he got off the plane. I think he got off the plane dripping ink. Honestly, like I don't even know what that was.
Honestly, that might be one of the biggest swindles in NFL history.
Well, at the same time,
in terms of Jimmy Garoppolo,
it's up there.
Oh
yeah,
yes, yeah. But at the same time, they did go to a Super Bowl. It's very Goff-like. I feel like.
Yes.
I think
that's an apt comparison. Yes,
very apt.
And it's one of those things where when Goff went to the Super Bowl, he was getting that like top 5, top 10. Like, this is the number 1 pick. This is what we drafted him for. And then he shows exactly what they actually drafted him for, which was mediocrity. And then he wound up in Detroit somehow, which is essentially like going from a Corvette to like
Jared Carter somewhere with the Arthur gift, shaking his fists.
He's punching the air. But I mean, it was just that's what it is. And I think Baker's a better quarterback than Garoppolo and Goff. Hence why Garoppolo got paid, went to the Super Bowl, and 2 years later has his replacement already drafted. I mean, they're running him out of town faster than the Rams ran out Kurt Warner, which was as confusing as anything. But this makes sense. Garoppolo isn't that guy, but they had a good game from yesterday, and they actually kind of wasted.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Now we have something. I want to move on to something that's a little more fun for you, Deck, to talk about. I see you got the hoodie on. That's Giants versus the Raiders. Manny, you're listening right now. I know you were tight in the chat. All right, there was an expectation that the Giants they're not that team. They can't beat the Raiders. This is a good Raiders team overall. with everything going on. It was a better team than the Giants. Not yesterday, though, as it finished 23-16.
The delivery on that was perfect, by the way. Norm Macdonald-esque.
Thank you. But yes, Giants defeat the Raiders yesterday. And it's not like we saw, a game from DJ that was like, man, this kid's it. 15 to 20, 110 yards, but
touchdown.
They, as a overall in a touchdown, you're right. Give him a touchdown. I'm not going to forget the TD. You need to add that. But this is overall the team. They played well against this Raiders team. And Deck, I want to know what do you think about your Giants and how did it feel yesterday as they were winning? I know Manny and you were going back and forth a little bit. What was that like? Give the people a little bit of insight into that, because I feel like that it's always a fun, because you get a lot of crap. And even I give it to you. We all give it to you. Well, you can enjoy the win yesterday at least.
Yeah, I mean, my team's not that good, so that's gonna happen. But I knew better than to text Manny before the fourth quarter, or like late in the fourth quarter. I think I texted it after the Derek Carr fumble. Like, I don't know if there were seconds on the clock left, because that's the type of game that my team loses. But it was a great team win yesterday. The win was all about the defense. They really just went out and they got after Derek Carr. Xavier McKinney with the 2 picks. I mean, really just playing excellent football. Second-round safety. Looks like a decent pick from Gettleman, which is kind of like an oxymoron at this point. But it was nice to see them go out and actually get it done. A lot of pressure all around. Azeez Ojulari, another great pick, looks like, from Gettleman. Made it this year. He's been performing well. They got some nice pass rushers, a nice defensive team. The rushing attack was good. Jones managed the game. He played clean football outside of the fumble in the first quarter. But they really just did the most of what they could yesterday. And they tried to keep the ball out of Derek Carr's hands. And that started with the defensive game that they got yesterday. So nice team win at home. Listen, I was going to come out and I was going to give Manny my hands of the week, taking a page out of the fan zone. But I think as a Raiders fan, he's been through enough this week, or really the past 3 weeks, that the average fan has to go through in a season. So I'm going to let him lie. The Raiders are still an all right football team. But Derek Carr didn't look as good as Daniel Jones yesterday, and Jones didn't even look that good either. So I just have to throw that out there.
Greg, before you even say it, Greg, don't say anything. Hold on. Deck, I'm glad you had a chance to get that off, because we have a surprise guest.
It is Manny.
I think he heard.
Is it really him?
You.
Is it actually him? That's awesome.
He was listening. Yep, man.
Oh, now I wish I gave him the hands.
First off, what you're not gonna do is come over here and try to You thought you were gonna get away with this?
Get away with what?
Hold up. You thought you were just gonna.
Now I'm going in on him. Now I'm going in on him. Now he did it to himself.
You were gonna gloat and be like, "Yay, the Giants won. We beat the Raiders." Oh, clap it up. Clap it up. Let me tell you something, Declan. You can enjoy this piece of crap win. I really don't care. Go ahead and talk your smack. But let me tell you something right now. You won't say this to me in person, all right? Just remember that. And you see what's been going on with my rated team right now.
What is this nonsense?
Let me tell you something right now. Shout out to Greg. I appreciate you for this. But you're still a piece of shit, because I know what you did this for. Did this for views. Think you said, Greg?
He did this.
He did this for himself. Cup. You put Henny in that cup. Stop it.
But Henny,
you wanted
Manny,
first of all, how dare you? How dare you?
I appreciate you though.
Do you? Do you really?
But before Declan says anything, congrats, Declan. You beat my team.
Thank you.
Is that what you wanted? You want to be elated and celebrate?
Manny, what is this scripted bullshit? You act like I came out here. What did you rehearse this 3 hours ago? Like, you're acting like I came out and said this. Like, I was like, oh yeah, my team looked great yesterday. They beat the Raiders. Yeah, you're getting my hands. Listen, I was about as respectful as possible. I mean, what is this?
Scripted or not, I appreciated every second of that.
It was fun.
You want it scripted? First off, scripted. Nothing scripted here, man. Greg just hit me up and just be like, yo, can you join on this real quick?
Oh, that's what was up here.
Hold on. When did he hit you up?
As soon as Steph started talking about Raiders Giants.
The minute he brought it up, I was about to go to sleep. All right. I had a long day.
Gotta go to sleep.
But let me tell you.
Did that loss do a number on you or something? I mean,
it would do a number on me. That was a terrible loss.
It was a tough loss.
It was a horrible
loss. But I also, at the same time,
tough loss after a very tough week plus.
Yeah, as a Raiders fan, it's probably just the cherry on top of what a bad week was. But there's worse ways to lose. It sucks,
But-
sure. I'm sure it does, but it wasn't. It's not something where like at this point you got to feel a little bit beaten to the point where like it's whatever.
Hold on. Before I get to my take on the Raiders, Deck, I have to do something here, and which I don't usually do often. And I have to congratulate you because you actually came out here
That's
and
true.
said Jones did not play that well, which is a stark cry from the conversation we had last night. So I applaud you. I didn't see that coming.
He played.
Talk
Yeah.
about
Well, apparently
this,
none of
bro.
you guys. Apparently you guys saw none of this coming because I mean you might as well have written a diss track in the 30 seconds of knowledge you had that you were coming on the show. I mean, like I'm still not over that. Like I'm getting smoked for something I didn't even do. Like whatever. It's like Paul tagging me in the Nick Wright thing that I had nothing to do with
Declan,
yesterday.
it has nothing to. You're a Giant fan. I've been hearing it nonstop from Giant fans since yesterday. All right. So you ain't the only.
So
one.
I
I'm
see.
the
This is
pariah.
pent up.
You're
That's
catching
what I am.
smoked by transitive property.
This is
You're the whipping
ridiculous.
boy. Is what it is.
No. He ain't the only target. I'm coming for a bunch.
Don't cancel
Greg ain't
Steph.
missing.
Don't cancel Steph.
Oh no, Steph.
I said
I'm,
don't-
I'm
don't
waiting
cancel
for
Steph.
Steph's jab. I'm waiting for
For
that little
saying the
jab.
whipping boy.
Oh, no,
do you,
not yet.
Do you? I mean, just that terminology. I'm just using it as that's what this is considered.
I know. I'm just saying.
The person you would beat. Yeah.
Why you can't just go with
I-
it, bro?
most
Why-
people didn't
why-
know that.
Why?
Be-
Why you can't just
Because
go with
people don't even know. People probably didn't even
Wow.
know until you said that. Don't cancel
Yeah,
yourself.
I didn't catch it, and then I guess I put it together. but-
Yeah.
I feel like this is an intervention.
it? Nah, not
Yeah,
even.
I don't know.
But-
I don't know who the intervention's for though.
Yeah,
That's like
it
the
might be for
question.
you,
That's a
'cause
real
it's-
good question, actually.
Yeah, Manny, you need a hug, bro. It's been
Manny,
a rough
like,
week.
Bro, you look
I'm
like you just
good.
came back from a funeral. You're wearing all black, like all upset. Like, is this is really? I
Silver
mean,
and black all day, sir. What are you talking about?
But I have issues with Derek Carr.
What are you talking-
Derek Carr played awful yesterday.
he's not a top 10 quarterback. At least I can come with the smoke, and we can put that narrative to rest. I mean, I don't want to.
It was
He's
one
not going to
week.
be on the top 5.
Didn't Josh Allen have a bad week this week?
Yeah,
Josh
I mean,
Allen
quarterbacks
that-
had like
hold on.
8 good weeks.
But hold on.
Look at this. What
Quarterbacks-
is
quarterbacks
this segment? Is that a Josh Allen defense? What? 8 weeks? Are
It
you
was.
kidding me? Greg, when I come back for Thanksgiving, I'm coming to Brooklyn and I'm giving you a hug for that. That meant a lot. I'll see you at the SHL.
We're in the
Bowl.
Twilight Zone.
Unfortunately, I won't be in town for Thanksgiving.
We're in the Twilight
Oh,
Zone.
it's
That's what
ridiculous.
this
Yeah,
is.
definitely
Yeah,
is.
Greg's coming up to Rochester to go to
Let's
Thanksgiving.
go to the
We're gonna
graveyard
miss.
real quick. Anyways,
Yeah, man. you were
Derek
saying.
Carr. One thing I can say is he's very accountable of his actions. He took that L. He threw that pick 6. That was a terrible throw. First off, so kudos to
It was a,
again,
it was a
it's not-
late throw.
No, it was a terrible throw by him, and he knew it. Obviously, we had a chance to wake up, but one thing that I didn't understand is why wasn't Brian Edwards used at all?
Bruh.
Can we,
Yo.
Greg?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but during the beginning of the season, that overtime thriller against the Ravens, the first game of the season, did Brian Edwards not make great catches? Great
I
catches.
mean, he kind of
Played in the
carried you
game.
guys in that overtime.
Thank you. And then
Him and Zay
even
Jones.
all
He did
the
several
other
times
games.
this season.
Exactly. So why is he not implemented? Obviously, losing Ruggs to this whole controversy, to this whole thing that he did for his actions, it showed. But the fact that you had Hunter Renfro, who is a great, I love Hunter Renfro. I feel like he's like one of those players that I can rely on. He makes great catches, but it's like you had
He
Brian
doesn't
Edwards.
stretch the
you didn't-
field.
Unfortunately, but you have Brian Edwards, who has the height and he's actually healthy. Wasn't that his issue last year? Was he was
Yeah.
never healthy?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for
Yeah.
the first time, he's actually healthy, and we didn't use him.
It was real.
Josh Jacobs.
Uh-huh.
Josh Jacobs did pretty well.
He did. He
pretty
did have a
decent.
decent game.
Yeah.
Decent game. Obviously,
He was
there's
good.
still
He had
little
nice
cracks,
couple
but
runs, too.
Kenyon Drake did okay as well. But I feel like it's not only just Derek Carr; it's the offensive coordinator. Like
I could see
don't
that. I could see that.
It's
too.
very questionable. Like some of the play calling, I'm yelling at the TV. I'm like, this guy he plays Madden. He just puts ask Madden for the plays. That's literally what it looked like. It was that bad. Like
But that
obviously-
might be what they're working with right now. Because listen, they were never preparing for Gruden to be gone. That
Yeah.
happened very quick. New
Yeah,
coach,
but you know what?
seen some
After-
success, but the offense is not the same.
week
As much
after
as we don't
week,
mess
it's
with what Gruden
constant.
said, it's
It's
very
constant.
different.
it's constant controversy. Every week there's always something. Like even this week, there's something right now. But
Hey, you guys cut another
It's
guy.
still-
Wait.
Leave it
Let's save that for
Hold on,
his
hold
show
on.
tomorrow. Give him
Yeah.
some.
Okay,
some
all right. I will.
yeah, I'm going on a long rant tomorrow. But just
So I have to go to sleep early.
my thing is
Makes
with
sense.
this team. Nah, I'm actually gonna watch the game now, just for that. But you would think that with all this stuff going on with the Raiders, there'll be some type of adversity. Like, you know what? They recall, the captains pick us up. Let's do something. Because in Ngakoue, I believe,
Yannick Ngakoue?
Ngakoue,
Yeah.
yes, 2 sacks. Got a fumble, strips fumble, all that stuff. Like he did good yesterday. Mad Max.
He
What
got
I noticed
after.
about
Your D line is good. They're very solid.
have you noticed something? And
Underrated.
they actually brought this up yesterday, and I'm actually wanted to bring this to light. The Raiders rarely blitz the entire season. They
That's
literally
true.
go with just four guys, just 4 linemen, and
Getting
they
pressure
just
on the
go.
quarterback.
So the fact that Mad Max and Ngakoue are actually getting to the QB while most likely getting double teamed each, because there's only 4 of them to get to the quarterback, is pretty impressive. So for once, the defense is not as bad as I've dealt with for decades. But this is on Derek Carr and the offensive coordinator, honestly. That's just my take on this.
Yeah.
So
I've never seen.
but also on the other end, Giants played good defense. Pick
Yeah.
6, got another pick off. I got to give it to them. I can't knock them for it.
I've never seen a case where a team talks up an offensive talent so much each offseason to not feature him in a game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
I 100% agree with that. And this last 2 years, they've done this time and time again in the preseason, during the season, and then there's no result for it. We've seen flashes, at least this year, from Brian Edwards, but for the amount of hype that he's gotten from his own teammates and his coaches, we just haven't seen it materialize on the field yet, which is really ridiculous.
And then now I don't even know what's going to happen next week. We play against the Chiefs. So what team are we going to have this time?
I mean, I did say y'all are gonna finish in 3rd place. It might be that slide might be coming.
Yeah, unfortunately, you might be right. But
I
until
don't
then,
like-
I'm still rooting for them as much as they piss me off.
I don't know. It's a tough situation. But going back to what you said about them blitzing, I don't know if it was a combo of the Giants just having a bottom 5 offensive line, or really the defense that the Raiders have is that they were getting pressure on Jones yesterday a lot, and they weren't even blitzing that much. So listen, I think that this Chiefs game is going to be so far. Manny, would you say it's got to be the biggest game of the year to this point, right?
I want blood.
I would hope so. They
That's
beat
all I
him
want.
last year.
No, I want them to get destroyed to the point that they break Patrick Mahomes in half.
Wow.
Not injured.
Oh, gosh.
I just want
on
to
that
get
note. On that note,
Why don't they
you can
take
catch
out
Manny
Jackson on the
fan zone.
sideline?
You're talking about canceling me.
All right,
Manny, love you, bro. We got to keep moving, though.
Oh no, by all means,
It's
go
8:04.
ahead. I'm here.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for coming on. I didn't know Greg was in cahoots with you. I thought you just happened to be like, you know what?
No,
Deck's talking about
first off,
my Raiders.
Nope. Hold on. First off, this is all on Greg. I ain't no snitch. But I was literally chilling.
I ain't no snitch,
Mine-
monkey snitch.
I was minding my business, and then I got the text. I didn't say, "Yo, put
I
me
didn't
on the
even
show."
say. I didn't
Copy.
even. It wasn't when
Copy.
Deck was talking. The minute Steph's introduced it, I said, "Let me hit him up," because he
But
was supposed
hey-
to come on the Sunday show yesterday, Steph, and he missed it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't know how
Gotcha.
pissed off I was about
That was a
that.
good
one.
time.
I had a whole monologue. But anyway, gentlemen, I appreciate it as always. Congrats again, Declan. And to
Thank
every
you for
single
coming on.
Raider hater here, I'll see you tomorrow. Catch me at 5.
Raider. Yeah,
It's
fan
Raider.
zone, 5
Ra-
p.m.
Do Raider
Raider
haters
hater.
exist in New York? Travis
They-
lives in
they-
Pennsylvania.
Oh,
They
Me?
do once I appeared on the sports hit list. Because I'm the only Raider fan any of you guys know.
I gotta
Fair
say, the Raiders might be the wrong organization. They let loose in Vegas.
Yeah, I don't think you're
That's
wrong
all-
about that.
You're
at
right. You're right. I mean, what a terrible city.
all.
What a terrible city to be a mess.
It has gone
I mean-
left very quickly.
That was like if
Let's-
that was like when Laramie Tunsil got traded to the Dolphins. I mean, him going to Miami. But going back, although he got traded or get drafted.
Oh,
by the
don't go
Dolphins,
back.
excuse
Don't go
me.
back. Don't go back.
I wasn't going to go back. I was just going to the comments very quick.
You just said go back.
It's a quick go
I know you're
back.
talking about Alonzo Thompson.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think you answered for good.
Yes.
is
Yes.
that the Giants played very conservative yesterday. And I mean, listen, the one thing I'll say is I don't want to sit here and say that Jones didn't play good. He game managed what he was supposed to do. He was 10 for 10 in the first half. He didn't throw any completion until the third quarter. So he did what he was asked. Jason Garrett, guys, I mean,
You only
win
had
or
like
lose,
4
he's
completions to
horrible.
receivers. That was terrible.
you know, and
Yes.
you know what it was? You know what it was that what was so bad about that is that it's really the epitome of what the offense that Jason Garrett runs. We know Kadarius Toney's a gadget player. They put him at QB1 on 3rd and 2, and they ran a read option and got -1 yards. Then on 3rd and 18,
It was
they
-2.
decided-
I remember
-2.
it was my
Yeah.
fantasy
Yeah,
team.
there we go. How lovely, right? -2 yards rushing. Then on 3rd and 18, who runs a trick play on 3rd and 18? Number one. Number two, they didn't even get the ball off. They threw it to Tony, and he didn't even get the ball off. They couldn't even get the protection right on a trick play. On 3rd and 18, when they're playing 10 yards off of you, he got tackled behind the line of scrimmage, and he couldn't throw the ball. So I'm done with Jason Garrett. As far as the Giants go, I know how this is going to happen. Gettleman and Garrett are gone after the year. The G's are gone, and the J's stay, because Judge is going to get another year, and Jones is going to get another year. I can see the writing on the wall already.
The Jays stay. Well, I'm glad we spent another 3 minutes on that. Thanks, Deck.
It was- Again, I messed
was
with the
worth it.
delivery today. That was very good. But yes,
It-
I'm
no,
not,
it's
I'm not
perfectly
He
running
tried
from
to
my.
fine.
stop you. He tried to stop you.
I did try
No,
to
he
stop
did.
you.
He did.
You're like, no,
I
it's
guess-
quick. It's quick.
I mean, it is quick. You know what?
Deck,
It's-
You started
Deck and
feeling, you started
Travis's
feeling
quick
it. You started
is
feeling
the same thing.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's fair.
exist.
It's fine.
Yeah, I'll
It's
be here
fine.
at 7:50.
Hey,
I'll be here at 6:55 today. Shows up at 6:59. But hey, it's all right.
It was like 7:01. So
A different
Titans
location.
Rams, the night game.
Yes.
You're,
Yes.
you're in the bunker. The night game. All right. Real quick, the question I'm going to pose to you, Greg. I'll start with you. Did the Titans put out a blueprint on how to stop the Rams?
I don't know if you guys were listening to the broadcast, and Collinsworth said something that I found very interesting that Mike Vrabel said. And Vrabel said, "You're not going to beat Stafford with outside pressure on the edges. You're going to beat him with inside pressure." And they literally killed him all game with that. I'm still a Stafford stan. I'm still going to stand by my guy.
Yeah.
He said Stan.
Yeah,
can't
I
believe
am
you just said
absolutely. I am. It is what it is. I can cop to it. It is. I've been in his corner for like 5 years talking about this.
More than that. I remember being 7 years old, and you were teaching me the crow hop, and you're like, by the way, you might not guess it because he went 2-14 last year, but Matt
Now
Stafford
you
is
dragging it. You're
going to be
dragging
so
it.
good in Detroit. Anywho, it was awesome.
I want to believe that actually happened.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of those people who tweet out stuff that their kids say and their kid's like 8 months old. Like, that's what that was.
Yeah, but what I will say is that I think they might have put out a blueprint, but I do think Sean McVay is clever enough to find a way to counteract it.
I mean, they were doing it during that game. They moved the pocket. I mean,
yes,
you
exactly.
you saw what helped them push the offense. So yes, I
Because
agree that they're going to make adjustments.
The basic dropbacks, he had no chance back there. Zero chance. He played poorly. I mean, they scored 14 points of his 2 turnovers, which was the swing in the game that cost them the game. And I can say that with no qualms that Matthew Stafford cost the Rams that game. But what I can say is that I do like that they came back and tried a different strategy. But at that point of the game, I think the game was already over. And then the defense was on the field a lot. And you could see that even though they didn't have Derrick Henry, you know, the Grandpa Adrian was still churning out yards and moving the chains.
He learned the playbook pretty quick.
Hand him the ball. Just let him do what he does. I don't even think he's going to learn anything.
He probably doesn't have to. I mean,
Adrian Peterson probably has
carries.
a shirt that says, "I does this."
translate the plays to Madden.
Real
But Greg,
quick,
you bring up a really – oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Jeremy McNichols, I feel so bad for because they just
He's
signed
staying in the
guys
same
off
role pretty much.
Yeah. I thought that was his shot. So did my fantasy team.
Should have been.
What
are you going to say, Deck?
You know, yeah, I was going to say, Greg, you bring up a great point with the blueprint with the whole Collinsworth Vrabel thing about blitzing up the middle. For me, that's no surprise that Vrabel figured that out with the pocket passer. A guy, his former teammate that we know struggles against pressure up the middle, that's Brady. You're not going to blitz Brady on the outside. He steps up, even at his age, still among the best in the league. You're going to get guys like Stafford that are pocket passers that can throw all day. the best way to get him dirty is to get up the middle, and that's what the Titans did exactly in the Rams building on the West Coast interconference matchup. So really a huge win for them.
Love it. Greg, you good?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
No.
Oh, no, it's all good. What's been going on for the last 20, 30 minutes is that your screens are frozen and I have no idea what expressions you're making. I took a
That's
screenshot
hilarious.
of Deck because he was making a shit-eating grin that looked hilarious. So I've just been
That'd be a
kind
nice
of
meme.
going off of sounds. I have no visual.
So Eddie Williams, our resident Brave friend, also congrats, my guy. Shout out to your Braves. That'll never happen again. So enjoy that.
Wow.
But he was saying AP had 10 carries for 21 yards. What game were we watching? That was just a dig for me to be able to call him Grandpa Adrian. What yesterday showed is that Ryan Tannehill can win without Derrick Henry. That's what it showed.
Coincidentally,
Agreed.
never going to
I agree with
happen again is what Eddie Williams told you in 1986.
Wait. Wow. That's what we doing, Eddie?
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Eddie, Steph, we might have to
tough.
take a trip to Atlanta one day and go to a Braves game with Eddie in our Mets gear.
I'm down for that.
Smoke and mirrors goes.
Wait, you see me? You can see me? Am I moving?
Yeah,
I
we
can't
can
tell.
see- yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I
That's
can't
great.
tell if he was actually
can't
wagging
tell.
his finger or if like he
Yeah,
was
no.
wagging
I was
his
like,
finger
let's
on
move
repeat.
it. Let's move. Yeah, it's just kind of like let's keep going, because we got our top five. So we got to do top five quarterbacks,
Yes.
right?
Couple
And Deck,
more
I know you
finger
like to
wags.
get
and I
it.
was hypnotized.
Deck. That means make it quick. No Travin,
Yes,
dog.
I will
Yeah.
actually. You know what? I will
No
make it.
Travin.
I will go lightning round on this one.
No
Ooh,
shot.
lightning
I
round. All right, you
can't
get to
see.
start.
I
All
promise.
right, top five quarterbacks this week. Deck,
You hear my hit?
who you got?
All right, so coming in at number 5, he didn't play this week, but I think he's still good enough numerically and physically, considering they are an 8-1 team. I got Kyler Murray at 5. I had Stafford at 3 last week. I bumped him down to 4 just based on the performance. Stafford's a great quarterback. You know how these one performance games go. Listen, he just gets bumped down this week. He could be up to 2 next week for all we know if he goes off. It wouldn't shock me. I'm sure that's where Greg probably has him anyway. But coming in at number 3 is Josh Allen, down from number 2, which he was at for 2 weeks. Just a putrid performance in Jacksonville, which pretty much says the whole thing when Urban Meyer's on the other sideline and you lose to him, as good as you are. And number 2, again, another guy who didn't play this week, but it still showed I have him improving this week. He jumped from 3 to 2 on my list just because of how bad Jordan Love and that offense was. So Aaron Rodgers is at 2. And another guy who didn't play this week. Crazy weekend. We didn't have Brady, Rodgers, and Murray, and Tom Brady is still undisputed number 1. Right now, he's ahead of Allen and Murray in the MVP race. And so far, he's had a great first half of the year. So to round out that, Tom Brady's at number 1.
Interesting. I wasn't sure who your 2 was going to be. Rodgers gets a bump up. All right, Greg, who you got?
So I got similar deck. I got Kyler at 5. I got Josh Allen at 4, bumped him down from 3 last week. Then I got Stafford, who was 1, is now at 3. Got Tom Brady at 2, and I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson at number 1.
Wow.
And here is why.
Okay.
Brady has the numbers, absolutely. Brady's also doing it with a way better supporting cast. We got a Lamar Jackson relying on the the running backs of yesteryear to lead the way, and we have a guy who's come back against the Colts, 19 points deficit. The way his defense played against the Vikings, chances are they should not have been in that game. They were down big early, and because of Lamar, they were able to come back. And he's been carrying that offense in the air and on the ground, and he deserves his flowers. So he's my number 1 quarterback this week.
I get it. Listen, I can't let that slide. But as here's what I'll say.
What do you mean
here's
can't
what I'm
let
gonna
it
say.
slide?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Lamar
He's
Jackson
doing more with less. What do you mean you can't let it slide?
No, you know why I can't? You know why I can't let it slide? Here's why. Number 1, this part I don't get. Listen, Lamar Jackson could easily could have been in my top 5. It was totally in discussion. But Greg, you didn't even have him on the list last week. What he
And
jumped
I didn't
from
have
6
Kyler on the list last
That's
week
not my
either.
point. But Kyler's number 5. That's fine.
But what
You
I'm
didn't
saying
even have.
is,
Hold on. You didn't even have him on the list last week. He jumped from 6 to 1 from that performance
absolutely.
yesterday.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
insane. He didn't even
Again,
play better
That's a
than
good question.
Hold
He
on.
didn't even play
But
better than
did
Herbert.
No. What we're not gonna do is act like
A lot
1
of
through
quarterbacks
6, 1 through 6, or 1 through 7 this year hasn't been interchangeable. That's what we're not going to do. Because
I
One
think
through
those are
7
words-
interchangeable on the
through
list.
6.
Yeah.
No, on the list. So I think 2
Yes.
through like 6, not 1. 1 has
Yeah.
been kind of unquestioned to me.
Oh no,
But
to
I
you
agree.
guys,
Change
not
that.
to me. And I've given reasons back
That's
to
what I'm
back
saying.
weeks
You
as to
changed it.
why I think those guys are number 1 currently. Now we know
It's
how
a
the
big
NFL
jump.
votes, but
But you didn't give it back to back because you didn't pick him last week,
no,
is my
what I
point.
said back to back,
He wasn't
Brady was not
mentioned.
in my number 1 back to back weeks. That's
Who
what I'm
was
saying.
Stafford
It was
was
Matthew
your number-
Stafford last week.
Okay.
And he went
Yeah.
down to
I mean,
3.
Yeah.
But
it's tough because the guys on the list that we have.
tough for who? I put him at 1. It wasn't tough for me. Who was it tough for?
It should be tough for you because he wasn't
How
on the
are you
list
gonna
last
tell me
week.
that? How
Deck
are you
is
gonna
upset.
tell me
That's absurd.
that?
Deck is upset.
I'm fine if he's.
Let me ask you a
You
question.
can put him at 3.
Let me ask you a
1?
question. Let me ask you a question. Right? If you take
Steph,
You're-
I mean, come on.
If you
6
take-
to 1 in
no,
a
no,
week.
no. If you take your average pocket passer and put them in Tampa with that talent, can they put up numbers? Yes or no?
Yes,
You take away Lamar Jackson, what happens in Baltimore?
they're S.
I rest my
So
case.
why wasn't he on
Alonzo-
your
hey,
list last
Alonzo-
week?
Alonzo
wasn't he
agrees
at
with Greg.
5'4"?
I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alonzo.
You can
He's
agree
saying,
with Greg.
Performance
Lamar
and numbers. No, I'm saying Alonzo does. He's saying that Lamar has the performance, but Brady has the numbers.
And I said that. I said Brady has the numbers. But if we're going by actually watching the games and taking in the context of things, Lamar is actually having a better season because of what he is up against within his own offense.
Better season than Brady.
To Dex-
Guys, I
to-
mean,
to-
Lamar's
to
got
Dex-
13
to Dex's
touchdowns. The
point.
rest have 20.
Hold on. To Deck's point though, last week you didn't have him on the list at all, right?
Yeah.
And so what
He was
what
6.
did he do in one game? What did he do
threw
in
2
one game to
picks,
go
too.
from 6 to 1? And it's a big jump. It's a leap.
Did you guys not
To
listen
do
to
that.
anything I just said?
I
We
hear what
listened
you
and
were
we still
saying.
have questions.
It's just and no, it's not the questions. I accept your list as is. It's just when you say, "Oh, he didn't make my top 5, but now he's 1 overall after one game." It's like, okay,
he was 6 by a close margin because of
he said it's all interchangeable. He said that
Yeah.
all interchangeable. I get
like
it.
if I
get
wanted
it.
to, I had no qualms, shuffling Stafford. It's a week to week thing. Why are we forgetting this?
Yeah.
He played well and he brought his team back from a game. Technically, they should have lost.
But is the
Quarterbacks do that,
is
though.
the
I get
question
it.
is the question who is the best quarterback? Who had the best week? Who performed the
It's
most
a
this
week
week?
to
It
week.
was never
top
defined,
notch.
honestly.
It's who is the best quarterback in the league right now. Lamar Jackson is not that.
Cumulative.
Sorry.
Cumulative. You're saying.
If you
It's
had
not
him at
just
2
in that week.
if you had him at 2 or 3 last week, there's no great.
Are we not going week by week?
I mean, I don't think Lamar Jackson's performance yesterday jumped him over 5 people because you didn't have him on the
I
list.
don't
You didn't have
care
him
what
at
you
5.
think about my top 5.
All right, well, we're talking
It's
about
mine.
the top 5. That's fine,
But
but
my
it's absurd.
Well,
My point is, you can feel it's absurd, but I have substantiated it with actual facts and context as to why I felt. Notice, you have Josh Allen, in your top 5 and 3. I don't agree with it. You don't hear me,
You have him at 4. Like, that's not a difference. That's
But
one
what I'm
thing,
s-
not
but
6.
what I'm
that is
saying
true.
is-
That is true. I will
That's-
give
But
that.
what
that's
I'm saying
completely
is
different.
the top 5 to 7 quarterbacks in this league, based on week to week performances, can literally be interchangeable.
Yeah, from in my opinion,
I'm loving these
3
freeze
to
frames that
7.
I'm getting because your face looks really funny to me right now, Greg. It's just like a really angry, you were pissed off. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm not knocking your list. All right, Deck is. And
No, he's knocking
and
my
we
list. He
have-
doesn't agree with it, but
we have Mama Krogman in here saying, "Is Lamar your
no,
number 1?"
that's
Because of all his
actually a
commercials?
really
That's
funny
Paul.
that's a really
That
funny
is very
callback
funny,
from
but
the
that was
Sunday show.
Paul. Yes, that was Paul that was bringing up the commercials though, but that was very funny.
I think she knew.
Alberto says you're bugging.
it was a good one.
Alberto always says I'm bugging. I'm tired of him too. He just comes
That's
on the
all
show.
right. Hey,
He
just-
loves Steph. He loves
Exactly.
Steph. That's
what we're
it.
gonna- He
He's an
just
ally.
comes on the show
He'll
to praise
talk-
Steph.
I've met him twice. He's
'Cause I love-
talking stuff
'cause I
about
love
me.
Luke.
He's going after you. Shout out to Alberto.
Yeah.
loyal
yeah.
listener.
So now,
You have
hear me out.
one. You have one guy in your corner though, Greg.
That's okay.
Alonso.
But if Lamar goes out and throws up a
Who we
dud
disagreed
next week,
with on other stuff during the
you
show.
know, if Lamar goes out and throws up a
Yeah.
dud next week, he won't be there. It's
He's
very
two?
simple. It's
He's two.
week to week.
Oh, he's back to 6.
It depends. Who knows?
Okay,
It depends.
All right. You thought about it.
He goes out there and has a
let me
Josh
hurry up.
Allen-like game, and I drop him down.
Let me give
I'm just
mine,
going to say
'cause it
this.
shouldn't be
He
as
gave
contentious.
Burrow an honorable mention last week, so he might not have even been 6 last week. He could have been
Hey,
7. for all we know.
Burrow's my 5.
Hey,
Oh yeah,
let's
Steph,
hear
go
it.
with your 5. We're already over time.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my 5. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
are.
you guys are going back and forth, and I really didn't want to stop it. It was pretty comical.
It was good.
I
think it
got
was good.
Dak
It was
at
good back and
5.
forth.
I got Josh Allen at 4, Lamar at 3, because he wasn't on my list at all before, so I felt like 3 was fair. I'm not moving Stafford though. I'm gonna stick with Stafford at 2. Yes, a bad game, but I just don't. I believe in him more than that. Unlike Greg, I guess. And Tom Brady is gonna be my number 1, even though he hasn't played this week. He's still the standard. He has just been phenomenal this year. So that's my top 5. Let's try and get into this Monday night preview, and at least I want to. The kickoff's already happened. Greg, who do you have
It's a
tonight?
Monday night. Just
I
Talk
got
about
I got the Steelers tonight. I just think Justin Fields is kind of settling in, but I don't think he's there yet. So just give me the Steelers.
Deck.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my pick yesterday. I'm glad I stick with some of my picks yesterday, which was good. But I'm going with the Steelers.
Yeah, I would go with the Steelers for the same reason. I do believe that Fields is coming around, but against that Steelers defense, it's very hard for me to see him capitalizing or scoring enough to beat them. Big Ben as it has been, we know that already, but that defense is keeping them. That defense and Harris is keeping them afloat. All right, so let's see. We got Steelers across the board. Anybody else have anything else to say before we wrap up? Because I know you like to interrupt sometimes.
So are you wrapping up with what I think you're wrapping up with?
Oh yeah, I got you.
Okay, yeah, then no, we're good.
Already know.
Whew,
All right.
The little
Perfect.
smoke and mirrors bombshell
Yeah.
that no one knows about. Should be a good one.
No one knows about it until we tell them, right? All right. So, as always, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to all Hit List content on YouTube, Facebook, and IG. The handle is Sports HL. Again, that is Sports HL. Coming up, there is the Wednesday show that we have with Boss Man himself. All right. So please check that out. Tune in at 5 p.m. And then on Friday, you would have us, as always. We're going to be here, but we have a surprise for you. We like to debate on this show quite often, and this debate's a little bit different. We're going to have our very own Greg Polius and Declan Krogman going up against it's hard to describe this individual exactly. All I can say is that he's a Brandon Falco. Brandon Falco is going to be coming on the show to discuss. Greg, what is the topic to let the people know?
The topic is should politics and sports mix? So we have
right up your alley, huh?
2v2 coming up Friday. Myself versus Brandon Falco.
Do we know who's going to be
what's
on
the
Brandon
layout
Falco's
for
side?
this? Do we know
we
yet?
don't know who his teammate will be just yet. We are working on that, but it will all be figured out. I'm sure Carl will have the intern set up, the flyer for Friday.
And now who's the lovely moderator for this? Can we shout out to moderator?
That would be our guy right in the top box over there.
You all already know. It should be a good one. Everyone, please tune in, check it out. It's going to be a great debate. You already know how fiery we get on here. It's going to be the first time Falco's coming on our show. He's been on the B show. That was a long time ago. This is a little bit of a different ball game here at Smoke and Mirrors. So it should be a lot of fun. We've been way over time. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. We had a blast today. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll see you on Friday.